Hey guys, so I'm going to do this special edition of 5-Minute Wealth Tip, and I'm going to center it around getting out of debt. Now listen, I know a number of my clients don't really have this problem because they've already been established, they're already putting money away, they got the kids out of the house, and it's all about that disposable asset. But listen, I know some of you have kids that are in college, that are starting out on their own careers, things of that nature, and maybe they're in this situation. Some kind of way they started to rack up a lot of debt, put some credit cards away. You know how it is when you come right out of college, they're giving you all these credit cards and you're thinking, hey, this is free money. And then you didn't get caught up, or excuse me, got caught up in the world of spending, and next thing you know, you have credit card debt. And you're trying to figure out, how do I pay this credit card debt and get myself out of this hole? Well, this actual segment is going to be centered around that. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about, I believe the best way of getting out of credit card debt is following this simple approach. Okay, so here's what I do. Depending on how many credit cards you actually have out there, let's assume you have 3 credit cards. And they're not drastically out of control, but let's just say $5,000 on one account, $7,000 on another account, and maybe $8,000 on another account. Well, the way I do this is I start to look at which one has the most interest that I'm paying on. Okay, so let's say if all of a sudden you were going, hey, every month I'm going to put a certain amount of money away into these credit cards, and it's always a little bit above the minimum, not much more, but just a little bit above, because you're living paycheck to paycheck, and you don't have enough disposable assets to really dump into a big part of these credit cards. And then of course that high interest rate starts to add up over time, compounding it, making it moving a lot faster. And next thing you know, that $5,000 balance that you had is now grown to $8,000 over a period of time, and you barely touched the surface of it. Well, guys, listen, interest rates are extremely high. No matter how well or how good your financial advisor is, this is a great opportunity for you to take advantage of using some management skills, right? Here's what I mean by that. No matter how well the market is and how good our returns on investments are, at the end of the day, here's what you need to understand. There is no way that I or any advisor could generate a 25, 26, 28% rate of return to cover the interest that you're paying on your credit card every year after year. So the very first thing that I would focus my attention on before savings is really paying off the debt, right? Paying down those high interest rate credit cards. Why is this important? Because listen, if you can't make up that money, it's better for you to, instead of stop saving and putting it all into a savings account, take that lump sum, pay out the credit card, so now you don't pay out that interest at 25, 26, 28% rate of return, because now you've knocked that debt down. But until you pay that debt off, it makes no sense to start saving and putting large amounts of money away, because you're kind of defeating the purpose. If your investments are only earning 8%, but you're paying 28% out, there's a 20% variance between those two numbers. You're losing on this side on everything you're earning on this side. So what makes more sense is taking the money out of here, paying this money off, right? And get rid of the debt. That way, when you start putting money into those investments, now the performance is growing and you don't have anything on this side here knocking down the return on the investment. Does that make sense? So that's the first thing I want you to think about. The second thing is, if I have these 3 credit cards, how should I start paying them off? What I suggest is take the one with the lowest balance but the highest interest rate, pay that off first. So on the other 2 cards, pay the minimum, guys. Pay the minimum on that card, and then take that number that you would normally pay on those 2 cards and apply it to the first card. Our goal here is to maximize by doubling up, tripling up, whatever it takes to pay down that first card, so that once that debt is paid, I can then take all that money I was paying on that first card and then apply it to a second card, and then do the same thing to the third card. Why do I think this makes sense? Well, first of all, there's a psychological thing about paying it off, right? When you start paying 3 cards and paying the very minimum or very lowest to that point, it's psychologically that you start to feel like you're not winning at all. You're going out there paying all this money on these credit cards, and you're not seeing those credit cards come down because of all the interest rate. And then psychologically, at the end of that 1 month, 3 month, 6 month time frame, you still have the same 3 credit cards that you've been trying to pay off and nothing's getting done. But when you psychologically double up on that first payment, triple up on that first payment, now all of a sudden you paid off a credit card. Guess what? Now you have a win. You're excited. This is great. Now psychologically, you've shown that it can be done, and now you apply that same concept to the second credit card and do it all over again. This is a simple way to start building out your sound fiscal house and start to create the process of building up and reducing your debt at the same time. Okay? Hopefully this makes a lot of sense to you guys. I hope you like this quick little nugget. For those of you who are trying to get out of credit card debt, trying to decide if it makes more sense to save money and keep having credit card debt, now you know you should get rid of the credit card debt before you start saving money because it doesn't work. Okay? All right, guys, this is my 5-minute wealth tip. Hopefully you like this little bit of insight and knowledge. I look forward to seeing you on the other side. This is my 5-minute wealth tip for Money Talk LA with Cory Chapman. Have a good day, guys. Bye-bye.